Everyone, this is Random Podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Blakely.
And today we're coming to you with some wrestling stuff. Mostly WWE, but because we are reviewing Wrestlemania, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the releases from WWE. Really couldn't find much in AEW. I tried to do both, but half of them I had no clue.
They keep theirs a little quiet sometimes.
But yeah, let's go and get into it. So, for WWE, you had Braun Strowman, which I think they already they had a show lined up with him anyway, so he's still technically under WWE brand.
Well,
he's just not really wrestling.
Technically, he's not. He has been released from his contract, right. But they have a deal that's going to be in place when they need him for a little bit, and that's about the only thing.
But from what I understand, I don't know much about the show, but it was mostly, from what I understand, the contract was a little high for, I don't want to put too much, I don't know how to really word it, but with his injuries and everything, and then the amount of money was just really high. It was not really a good deal. But I mean, he has stuff already lined up. I mean, the dude's a busy man.
Yeah.
So, up next was Dakota Kai. So, like with Braun Strowman, I love Braun Strowman, but it's fine. I think it's one of those things.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Dakota Kai is a little bit of a different story. I think what worries me more about Dakota Kai is all the people are like, oh, you need to be released. And then she's released. And they're all like, oh, why'd you release it? Y'all need to calm down. Y'all need to figure out what y'all... My thing is with Dakota Kai, it was good to see her back, but I think injuries played a little bit into this as well. And all these people could easily come back on different contracts. It's not unheard of.
Yeah. She could go to TNA and do it and be...
And the thing is, like, as far as damage control goes, they were slow. I feel like they were slowly going away from it anyway. Mm-hmm. With the EO push... There wasn't really a lot for Dakota Kai going on anyway. Kairi and Asuka were injured. They are coming back slowly, which I think Kairi's already back as this taping. But honestly, you can either put them in the tag team, Kairi and Asuka, or just have them go. I mean, they're good enough to be solos. Not saying the others aren't, but they're going to be good. But I think Dakota Kai was more of a hurt.
Yeah.
To see go.
Because she was a fan favorite, and she was over the crowd, but it was a place where they didn't have nothing. And people got to think, this ain't Triple H releasing people, because if it was him, he wouldn't release anybody. This is more of the board releasing.
Yeah, this is TKO.
Yeah.
This is TKO.
TKO is kind of...
And I'm not even saying the Rock, because I don't know how much in depth he's got with it.
The Rock was the one. I know we wasn't going to speak about this, but since you brought up The Rock was the one to announce WrestleMania, and now they took it out. So I don't think it's. I think it's more of the people running TKO is trying to run it like the UFC, and it's just not the same.
They're gonna seek out money, which any business does.
Just like they're planning on taking WrestleMania back to Las Vegas. What I've heard from people, it was a nightmare to get around. To me, WrestleMania is a traveling thing.
Yeah.
And it could be a ploy for other cities to pay more. But...
They also made a killing this past WrestleMania. The next one you had was Shayna Baszler. I was a little surprised by this.
I wasn't.
But she's also not really been doing much either.
No... She's going to make a killing on indie scene doing stuff, but I wasn't really... I think it was time coming for her to be gone.
I would say if anybody surprised us of so far was Dakota.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't surprised even with Braun, because Braun, I would say, at this point is 60% hurt. Now, he's good at still helping put people over, and they said they were going to use him, like, as a monster. No pun intended on that. Next up, some of these I'm not going to know as much because I do not watch NXT. There was a slew of NXT. First up was Oro Mensah. No clue who that is other than 2K25. I have no clue.
It surprised me because they like using metaphor, and they were using Oro Mensah a lot against people. But I don't know if TKO is over NXT cutting or not. I think they probably are. If not,
the statements from TKO as well, and this is not Triple H, but what I understand, TKO is they're big on if they feel people are not training or doing enough or putting in enough, which is UFC. That's the way it's always been with UFC.
Yeah.
The problem is they're running it like a UFC. In my opinion, and what you said, we don't know how they're training.
It could be
just because they look good on TV doesn't mean they're training.
TKO is still brand new.
Yeah.
I think they bought.
It's not UFC. I mean, it's
So we'll wait and see because what if it comes better wrestler? But thing is, Ormensa was surprising to me because he was getting used a lot and he was doing good work, but.
And they have extremely deep talent right now.
NXT does have a lot.
Well, even the main roster, who they called up, should have already been up like maybe 6 months to a year ago.
And that's a problem with certain things when you have so much talent. Some of the good talent has to be released or let
some of it's homegrown. They're growing some of their own now.
Yeah.
Which I mean, they've always kind of be that.
With LFG going on right now, got renewed for season 2. They're finding hidden gems in the NIL program stuff. Because I mean, if you look at it, that's how we got Trick Williams and Oba and all the other people coming in. So,
and some of these could get picked up. Some of them will get picked up by TNA. Some maybe even AAA.
New Japan. People forget. WWE has AAA now.
Yeah.
It could easily sign them to that. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if they control the signage over AAA.
See, I'm not sure. Because that was even... From what I understand, that was even TKO that bought that. So...
Yeah, but it's under the...
it's
WWE, and then what they're supposed to have is umbrellas underneath it.
And... NXT Europe is happening soon.
There's rumors of that. Which, if that's the case,
and from what I'm saying, there's high rumors they could be re-signing some people for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're branched now. So you're gonna have this happen. As it happens a couple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just with it being WWE, it's gonna be more talent. It's gonna be put out there more talented. Next up was Wolfgang. Once again, someone I don't know if it wasn't for the games.
Yeah.
The Coffees, I was kind of surprised because they've been kind of a staple for a while.
Well, with Wolfgang too, I forget what the group was called.
Is it Gallus?
Yeah, that's what
Gallus. I think it's cool name.
I was surprised they never came up and joined Drew McIntyre as like a little group, especially when they were going against the Bloodline for Drew.
Well, even now, I mean, he's
you could use that. You could still as a heel because I think heel factions work better than good guy factions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they'll get picked up again. But if they do that NXT Europe, I could see them get picked up again, being leaders over there. I think, and they could get picked up by TNA. I don't think none of these guys could go to AEW. Even Dakota Kai, even though I like Dakota Kai, she wouldn't have a big role over there.
Yeah.
Because there's so much bigger names over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I see 2/3 of this hitting indies easily. TNA, because they're always moving around stuff. Next up is Riley Osborne. No clue who that is.
I know he was in Chase U, but I really didn't pay attention to him.
Next up was Jakari Jackson. I was a little surprised by that.
I was surprised. That's enough. They got rid of 2 out of the 4 of Meta-4, which I thoroughly like Meta-4, and a lot of people did. But because they were building up her in Lash Legend,
right,
to be a threat and stuff, and then they just released her out of the blue. So I don't know if training wasn't going good or whatever. Because with Riley Osborne, what I've heard why he got released is he didn't want to go to wrestle on Evolve because he thought it was a downgrade.
Right.
But to me, in NXT, that's a whole development brand. Evolve is a development brand.
Yeah.
Go in there and work your stuff. But
yeah.
When someone thinks they're too big for their shoes.
Or britches, depending on how old you are.
Yeah.
Next up, you had Cora Jade. I kind of was not surprised by this.
I I was but then it goes back to the women's roster just so big in NXT.
And I think I don't know Cora Jade as much, but I think there's better talent there.
Yeah, and
I don't want to say younger because I don't know her age, but I feel like
she's about the same age as Roxanne.
But you had Roxanne, you
see what they did with
Roxanne.
You've already brought Roxanne and Julia up on the main roster.
Stephanie's not far behind. You got Jordan Grace in there now.
Far behind. Kiana Jordan isn't far.
Right. They're probably going to push Lash more now.
Yeah.
Then you had Eddie Thorpe. I don't have any feelings towards.
All I know, Eddie Thorpe is being Joe Briscoe's grandson or whatever. That's the only thing I know of him.
Gigi Dolan.
I was surprised because she was a good worker and they like keeping workers, but she'll be picked up by TNA.
Well, that's both of Unholy Union gone now, right?
No, that was Alba Fire.
But I mean, both them are gone and Gigi now. Because Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, and they're both gone as well, right?
Alba Fire, she's with the
I was thinking that
she's part of Chelsea Green's little faction, the three of them. Gigi Dolan was part of a faction with Shotzi.
That's right.
And not Fallon Henley, Tatum Paxley. Which Shotzi also got released. I don't know if you put that on there.
I think we had already talked about her last time about how I think last time we did talk about her or about how some of the upcoming potential.
Yeah, it's because her contract was coming up, so they just didn't renew.
I think we already talked about her. Next up, and I like using them in 2K25 as a tag team, but Katana Chance and Caden Carter.
They wasn't really doing anything. I just call them party girls. That's all.
Well, and one is, I think, dating Damien, and her TikToks are hilarious. Kaden.
Yeah.
But those two, I mean, they'll do great on indies. TNA. Easily. Which they came from there anyway, I believe.
Katana Chance came from, what's that Warrior show where they do the... you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Where they go platform to platform.
I was going to say Next Top Warrior, but that's...
But that's where she came.
American Warrior, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was American Warrior. She got signed off for that, and I don't know where Caitlin Carter came from.
I was thinking she was Indies.
I think she was because she was in I think the first or second Mae Young Classic.
Yeah. And then Javier Bernal, which I think might be vaccine. I don't know him at all.
Never I have no idea who he is.
They also released a couple of behind the scenes writers and producers. So,
but they're doing that all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean they're usually on limited contracts, I believe, anyway.
Or they just paid
paid per show, or not really show, but per storyline, possibly.
You don't get the people like you do, like Brian Gerwirtz and those anymore.
Or what was the Dunn guy?
Kevin Dunn,
who was around for 200 years.
That was just Vince's boys and.
Stuff like that. But now we're going to get into not one, numero uno, of WrestleMania. I'm going to be honest with you, some of the matches, it's only been a couple weeks, but I've already forgot if I even liked some of them because...
It's been a month.
Well, it was May the 3rd. So by the time this comes out, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
A little over 3 weeks. 3 weeks and a day, something like that. I was extremely hyped. I know you were for it as well. I don't think it hit. It did and it didn't. There were stuff that really hit.
I think we put it to where we thought 40 was going to be because 40 was just so good.
Yeah.
I think what hurts it is a final Sunday's main event. I think that hurt it.
Yeah. And we will get into that because I think we have about the same opinion. And a little bit of how people are talking about it on the internet, which I kind of see what they were saying.
To me...
But some of the matches that should have, I thought, been more of a banger was I put too much hype in it, which is my fault, not really necessarily...
I think the fact we thought last year was so good. To me, every match was good. To this year, it didn't feel the same. I think, to me, it was later of the year it was... which I think that was a Vegas problem. That's why they had to put it back.
Yeah, because usually it's like the beginning of the month. Not
and
third
the
week?
build was longer. Like, I think it was right, but maybe a week earlier would have been a little better or whatever. And they need to put like a smaller pay-per-view in between, just so people aren't getting tired of just watching Raw and SmackDown each week. Yeah. Put in a small.
Have been bad.
Put a small, like you could have put a Saturday Night's Main Event in there somewhere instead of burning them the first 2 months. Right. You could have put one in March. Help a little bit.
Yeah, because between the pay-per-view, it was just so long.
It was so long to where I wasn't losing interest, but it was hard to.
Yeah. And since Mania, I've not saw any wrestling at all. Yeah. Like, of course, stuff has happened since Mania, for both of us, so stuff has changed. But we'll get into our usual with the matches. First up, we had Jay and Gunther. This match, to me, was so good.
It was good.
And Jay coming out was electric.
It was good, but I don't
pop Jay got was great.
Gunther losing like he did, I understand because it happened later month. But
you had to give Jay the title.
You had to, but I don't know if I would have made him tap out per se, rather than him getting choked out.
Yeah.
Because then that's like he didn't tap out. But then you had Gunther tap out. Which it makes Jay's win a little bit bigger because he's the only one that really tap out Gunther. Just for Gunther to win it later on, I feel like.
And it's only like his, third loss?
Third loss.
Since being called up?
Yeah. Braun Breaker beat him twice. Then Sammy last year at Mania, and then Jay at this year's Mania.
So 4.
Technically 4, but beat by 3 different people.
Right.
But my thing is...
But you also... 2 of them were like major titles, so it's not like it was like
but my thing is...
match.
I don't think you need Gunther to lose every WrestleMania, which I don't think he will.
No.
But it's like... Back-to-back years, the underdog beats...
I kind of feel like the problem they've set with Gunther is the way they've done the story...
Yeah.
Is by the time it hits Mania, you have to put it on that other person.
When Sammy beat Gunther, that was, okay, good moment.
Yeah.
And, we didn't expect Sammy to beat Gunther. Right. We really didn't.
Right.
But we kind of knew Jay was going to beat Gunther. We didn't know how.
You had to, because you had to.
Now, Jay put on, it was a good match.
Yeah.
But for Gunther to automatically tap out, I just would rather see him pass out.
Yeah, and see, I'll agree because it does hurt. I think I
don't think it hurts Gunther as bad because it is Gunther.
Right.
But say if it was someone different, it probably would have hurt him a lot.
Well, if he wins off a spear or a super kick, I think that would have hurt more than.
Yeah. Now if he did stereo splashes and one like that, okay.
Yeah. Like 4 or 5 or something. But even then, that would have been overkill. Because that should not be a move that wins a WrestleMania match. But depending on who the person is, obviously, if
it's not my match of the night though.
It is not, but to me, even I love the electricity of Jay coming out.
It's top 5 of the weekend.
Great. And then I love how Gunther's coming out like Gunther, no change. I love that because it was more. He's like I'm staying on business type. I don't flash. Entrances,
we didn't get no really WrestleMania entrance.
We did not. I feel like it was standard. Because even Jay's was standard with just a little bit more of a flair because of the crowd.
He's going to have one anyways because you don't really have to have a special entrance for that. Right.
But he also had the crowd, with that.
Yeah, but car ones, I feel like they just got a sponsored deal by rent-a-car, luxury rent-a-car.
Which we will talk about that because one of them was just so bad that it was just...
You're talking about LA...
Yes, which is a couple from now. Yeah, his was just so bad. Next up was War Raiders versus New Day. And that was another problem I had with the entrances. They were too sponsored, like you said. War Raiders coming out even though it was funny, it was kind of funny.
The worst
it was so dumb
of Clash of Clans
because it just looked like somebody painted cardboard and then put it on. Now
New Day usually has a good entrances. I I don't remember their entrance.
I think it was just standard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
And I know why, because they're heels, they're not, and the way they're representing themselves. But I still think you could have healed it up and still put on a good.
And I don't know if it was because of how big the stadium, the area.
Yeah, it's massive.
And like, I guess they couldn't really do anything.
And also where the Raiders play.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it MetLife?
Allegiant.
They're all sponsored titles anymore. Like I can't keep.
But
up. I don't even remember if it was a great match or a good match.
Not really. New Day won by holding down Eric's.
Oh yeah, it was so trash. Yeah, it was such a trash. Yeah, I remember that being just a trash ending.
To me, tag teams at Mania should be multi-man. It just worked better for me.
Or if it's going to be like a regular tag team, put a stipulation.
Yeah.
Like ladders or, some stipulation if you don't have three
I know you probably didn't see, but the ladder match they did on SmackDown the following Friday.
No, I can't get into that.
TLC, it should have been on me. It should have replaced that match.
And the what they decide to go in the highlights is always garbage.
You can probably look up the full match.
But yeah, I do now that you mentioned it, and I was like, dude, you could have ended that as heels so much better. Mm-hmm. Next match was Naomi versus Jade. I kind of liked it.
I did like it. Naomi's doing such great
I love
work.
how Jade didn't just beast mode her. Like Naomi got some stuff in. Naomi looked really good.
Naomi's doing good work.
She is doing great work. Because even with they let Naomi get her stuff in, Jade still looked like a beast. There was still, they let both do their stuff. It was a really good match. And if I remember correctly, that's probably, out of those three so far, my favorite of the three. Now, I do love the Jane Gunther, and that was really good. But I feel like for this not being a title, it did really well. Mm-hmm. One of my kind of least favorite matches of the night and it was kind of, some of it was the entrance was the problem, but to me the match was just not that good, was Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. I love that Jacob won, don't get me wrong, but it was just...
It's another match at Mania where like Jacob's winning.
Yeah.
He's just so over right now to where LA Knight's over, but LA Knight is not where he was.
He's a better chaser than
he is
having the title.
I think it's time for him to move on, to go to a bigger title. I think a shake up to Raw would be so much better for him right now. He's just been on SmackDown too long. It just needs another brand.
He needs to change it.
He's been on SmackDown forever too, for the longest. Since he came up, he's been.
I was about to say, hasn't he been on SmackDown the whole time? She
It's-
put him in something with Karrion Kross. I'd watch that.
That would be good. I think with Solo didn't even get involved in this match.
No, Jacob came out with Solo, but then Solo I think went to the. Actually, I don't even think Solo came out with him.
It wasn't as bad as you think. You probably would watch it a lot better.
Oh yeah, I'd have to watch it again. Like some of these,
because it's better than War Raiders and New Day. But
that's not saying. I think me and you could put on a match.
But I think the following
better,
pay-per-view, the Fatal 4-Way, is a lot better. This is another match. They could have put another guy in there, like an Andrade could have been in it.
And I didn't.
Carmelo Hayes.
I didn't watch Backlash.
Yeah.
So Backlash didn't seem like I even cared.
Jacob Fatu winning, and then LA Knight tried to go for a BFT. Didn't really hit.
Yeah.
But it was all in all Jacob Fatu winning, and I'm a big Fatu fan. I think he can be world champion.
Yeah, I do.
I think he could be WWE champion, world champion in a year from now. So,
I hope they slow burn it though.
Yeah, because they got to get through
so
Solo,
much. Yeah.
And then JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb, Mateo.
My problem, I still can't get over how bad the LA Knight entrance was. It wasn't even driving the car. Like he was just
he didn't have
with
open the door
No,
for him. He had to open his own door.
He got out and then it just like.
At least with the Charlotte Flair one, it was like she was rolling up and something.
Yeah, that was sad that was a little bit better. But even because that was a cool car he came out in. But at the same time, it's like. This was not like you said, the entrances this year were just not. They were either what we already get in any pay-per-view, or such a horrible just ad.
Mm-hmm.
There was the ads were too crazy those 2 nights to where like matches barely finished and you were doing ads like I guess they're not doing anything after the match. And the next one is a prime example of that. Americana versus Ray Phoenix. As soon as he won, Americana won, it did the ad and went more ad, and it's like, bro, dude, can we at least see
it wasn't
celebrate?
a put together match, but
it was not a
I don't
bad
like
match.
Americana. I think he's a terrible character and he's boring. It's not a race thing or anything like that. It's just I don't find him interesting.
It's kind of dumb.
We know it's Chad Gable. Go ahead and get over it. And to me, it's Ray Phoenix's first.
Yeah.
Let him win.
Yeah.
Build that up.
Yeah.
But you let Americano win by stealing his mask and winning with off headbutt.
That was dumb because I didn't even notice he headbutted until the replay. Like I couldn't even tell.
Well, it showed Ray Phoenix kicks him inside the head, but he sells it like he hit the plate. It didn't kick him in the front of the head; it kicked him on the side of the head. Yeah. But to me it was a good match because of Ray Phoenix. I think Ray Phoenix should have won. It wasn't a bad match because Ray Phoenix was in it,
right.
And Chad Gable can go, but I didn't like the ending. I think 2 nights is good. So
next up was Tiffany versus Charlotte. I actually enjoyed this match.
It was sloppy to begin with.
It was, but I think it was kind of a fill out.
I think it needed to be sloppy to begin with for the storytelling.
Yeah, and it's a fill out process. I think their styles, where they're different, they're kind of the same to an extent as well. Because they're both athletic. I would say Tiffany is more athletic, but the moves they do as well. And I think this was good placement on the card as well. But I really don't have much to say. Tiffany was and should have been the winner.
Thought she chipped tooth, but she didn't. It was just makeup on the tooth.
Right.
I don't know how makeup would have got on the tooth like that.
It looked like lipstick to me. And that happens. I mean, not from personal experience, but I know women who have made that comment. We're moving on because it makes it look like I wear lipstick. So we're moving on. Next up, and easy, I think the match of the night.
Match of the weekend. Seth
versus the OTC. Well, you have to. You're wearing a shirt. You have to. Oh. Right there, it looks like you have a question. Versus CM Punk. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Now, at the ending was really good. It set up so many stories. But there was a couple moments, like, we all knew, what was going to happen, with the arm between the legs of Roman. We kind of saw it coming because of the way he was acting, Paul was. It still was like, oh, he did it anyway. Well, but the fact that he did the extra wiggle was even more of a... I think
what got me was him doing the CM Punk first.
Yeah.
Then align with Roman, but then... And then...
Because I definitely didn't see the CM Punk coming at all.
Yeah, and then he did it to Roman, and to join with Seth, I think it was a whole... To me, it was the best match of the... Not weekend, because I think NXT put on some better matches.
Right.
But for at least WrestleMania...
Actual WrestleMania.
I think it was the match of the...
Right.
Weekend.
I think this too it set. I mean, this could be 2 years, a 2-year story.
Because if they're trying to build it because to me, I think they're trying to do like they did with the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to go as crazy with the members. Right. I'm fine if it does.
I see even more of an evolution.
The problem you get with the evolution is you have the right people at the right places.
Right.
They got Braun Breaker joining in, which I like, because Braun Breaker is an upcoming star. But they need that fourth guy. I know there's talks being like, oh, they're not going to add, but they need that fourth guy.
I think they will. They're going to let it, like, sink.
Because I'm trying to remember how long it was before Randy joined Evolution.
Well, see, you gotta kind of look at it this way. If you go off that, I kind of see Paul as, like, the Ric Flair. Even though he doesn't wrestle, I mean, he's still like the knowledge and mouthpiece, and
he's the
voice,
basically.
Yeah. Triple H is more like the Seth Rollins, which I mean, you saw that parody for what I would say almost a decade. Maybe not that long, but it seems like it's been forever. And then Braun's more of the Batista, the heavy hitter.
He could also be Randy too.
To an extent, yes, because of generation.
Yeah.
I don't even want to speculate on who they could add because I've not saw wrestling since Mania. So my brain is like slightly lost on who might be where.
I wouldn't mind Carmelo's with the Miz, but you can easily just put Carmelo with them and they'll be fine.
He could be the Batista-ish.
Yeah, you got to put up someone where
because you don't have to be the size. It's not about size.
You got to put someone in there that you believe, whole honestly, that could end up being a major player like they did. I think Carmelo has a chance. You could put a returning Ilya Dragunov in there. Mm-hmm. I think he can have a bright future. There's just so many people. They could have put Jeff Cobb in that group, and that would have made sense.
I'm not surprised he's with Solo though.
I'm not either.
You could put Bronson Reed in there.
I would love Bronson Reed to be in there.
Because I think he's kind of done with the solo stuff. I think he was meant for that until the injury.
And you got history
and now
between
that he's coming back
and Seth.
Yeah.
I like it. It'll be interesting to see who they put there, though.
And that puts you up kind of a heavy. I know Braun can play either part. I think we might find,
because we're filming this today of Saturday Night's main event, I think we could find something out by tonight.
Yeah.
Because it's been Sammy J and Punk.
Right.
Now, the twist could be Sammy turning and joining them.
I could see that, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't really want to see that. But I mean, they're gonna write what they write. So we'll tackle just not one, and then we'll do an overall as well. Not one. What would you give as far as a grade, letter wise?
I give it a solid B. That main event helped it a lot.
Yeah, I would say due to the final two matches, I would give it B plus in there, just because they were so solid.
There were some good matches, but the storytelling
and there were good moments inside the matches, except for one of them. Now, obviously, I think we agree on match of the night was the triple threat, and everything that went with it. My worst match of the night is War Raiders and New Day. Same. Love both teams, especially what New Day's doing now.
I think Ivar's hurt. Is he hurt?
I think that's why they were always going to lose the title, because they were battling a couple injuries. Nothing severe, but they had. I mean, they go 90-0. These guys should not be moving and doing the moves they do. They're that agile, and they're fun to watch. But even that story was just felt forced.
Because I think
and it moved so fast.
The War Raiders already beat them once.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
now on to night 2. One of my favorite matches of both nights. Actually, there was a lot of good on night 2 for me. Now remembering some of it might be a little tough. But we had Io versus Bianca versus Rhea for the women's side. And I didn't talk about titles in the last one, but we know.
I think that should have been the main event, if you ask me myself.
Yes, Io, Bianca, and Rhea tore the house down.
Such a good match. And Io really has not stopped putting on banger matches.
Right. Of the three, I think right now Io is the best bankable. Now, they're all bankable.
Yeah.
But Io is on such a tear. Fans are loving her every moment. You have the Io pointing that's all over the internet, and it's so dumb, but Io does it to where it's great.
Now, when other people do it, I just think, okay, you're just looking stupid.
Well, Rhea's kind of funny.
Rhea is Rhea. No matter what,
no matter what Rhea does,
everybody's gonna love. But if you get a stupid fan out,
but she's mommy.
You're doing it first. It's like, calm yourself. But Io has been putting on some bangers.
After banger.
Bianca hurt her hand, but she got the needed break. Rhea's still Rhea. But she's going to be in the Money in the Bank. She qualified, which I don't think...
Money in the Bank.
I don't remember her being. This is the first Money in the Bank I think she's in.
I don't know. I just want a big show ladder to make an entrance. That's all I want.
Well, there's no
that
one
is still
big.
but that's still the greatest ladder of all time.
But I think if Bianca comes back, when Bianca comes back, which I didn't watch SmackDown last night because Ron Acuna was making his comeback last night,
and he hit a homer on his first at bat.
But
I saw that
Bianca is returning next Friday.
One of those days
on SmackDown. Yeah. One of those days I watch it. But Io. You can tell now Io was the best choice to make to win.
Yeah.
Rhea's still there. She's probably
Rhea's
up to top 2 biggest sellers, pop reactions every week.
Yeah.
And then Bianca is Bianca.
Everybody loves Mommy.
Everybody loves all 3 of them.
Yeah. Even I've came around on Bianca.
Yeah.
So
I think Bianca should come back as a heel though.
Yeah.
That's my honest truth.
Yeah. Eventually it'll happen in 20 years. John be back fully bald and like here's the newest heel Bianca. I don't know, it'd be something like that. Fast and Furious 25 or something. He's filming for that. Rock shows up on a walker. It's all good. But he's still built but like no legs. Like his legs are like he skipped leg day for 20 years. So I'd watch it.
I'd be in a new Thriller movie.
And then next match was Drew versus Damian.
It was a letdown match.
I don't remember it at all.
Thinking about that was a letdown of a match.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all. So we'll just skip ahead because I don't even remember it. Drew won, but I don't.
I'm excited for a steel cage match tonight. I think that's going to be really good.
But then you have, and this match was really good too. Penta versus Dirty Dom versus Finn versus Braun. And now I'm not surprised that Braun lost because of what's happening now.
Yeah.
But they put it on the right person, Dom.
Dom. That reaction was probably...
It was great.
One of the best reactions.
It was great. I don't know what else to say. It was one of my favorites.
I think they all showed... I think the finish was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the right person won with Dom. You could tell because Triple H told the cameraman to tell him to go back to the ring and celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
That rarely happens. I think Braun will be a big player in the future. Mm-hmm. I could see him main eventing.
Finn showed he still got it.
Finn shows he can still got it. I wish he would get some more wins under his belt.
Yeah, it's
and then you can tell Penta will be great. Yep. I think that's the future. I think Finn is still the future. Stuff can always...
Yeah. Finn was the veteran meant to put in there to keep everything glued. Even though the rest of them still were overly talented. But you have one of the future biggest heels, which he already kind of is, in Dom. You have Braun, who is already a current and still future star. And Penta, that is...
He's been doing it a while.
Yeah, he's a veteran that's still the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then Finn, I mean, you can throw into a title picture right now, and it would not matter. Now, he needs to pick up wins. But even through this whole time, he has elevated everyone. Like Dom, everybody in Judgment Day. I mean, he helped elevate Damian... all that. Mm-hmm. So, and then Mommy didn't need help, but he, pushed her along. I don't have much more to say about that match. That match was just great. It speaks for itself. Go back to watch it. I might go back and watch it. It might be a while. Next up, and I kind of enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it. One of my favorites, and then I love the other one's entrance, and then 2 of your favorites, but RKO, Randy Orton versus John Hendry. I enjoyed it. And Randy wanted it. Like, Randy wanted it. It wasn't just like fly by night. Randy was happy with it. Randy wanted it.
Joe Hendry.
I did put John, didn't I? And I even checked it to say E.
Yeah.
John and Joe.
I think he's the most popular guy. You saw the crowd reaction.
Or Scottish.
I think the best moment was when he turned around like this, like
RKO baby,
RKO'd,
and then at the end of the match,
Randy won.
And I was like, this is Randy, man.
But what helped that is Joe Hendry went off.
Yeah.
Even though he lost, he still put on a good show.
Well, even he himself said, dude,
he got the rub. He got the rub from Randy, who's probably the greatest of all time.
He also got the RKO from Randy.
He also took a sick RKO.
And he did a good job. Like, he sold it. He sold it good.
Yeah. And you're on the main... You're not in WWE. You're with TNA. Yeah, they got a partnership, but you're on the main stage of WrestleMania. Right. As TNA champion. That's even big for the TNA brand.
Yeah.
To be like that.
And Randy wanted it. Randy was happy with it.
And it was against Randy. It wasn't against, no offense, to Finn.
Right.
I'm sorry I picked Finn out of all of them.
You that feels targeted. You could have said Damien or
I'll even say
Drew wouldn't have been
I would even say with Logan, Paul.
Yeah, we will talk about that.
I'm just using him because I feel bad because I picked Finn, so I picked Logan.
That felt targeted.
But that's still a big... Right. You're TNA champ on WrestleMania.
And for the Joe Hendry stands, it's okay for him to lose. There was no title.
Now, what I would have loved if Randy Orton somehow became TNA champ, that would have been awesome.
Like out of oh well, it was kind of a tag, or it was kind of a title match. Oh, that would have been so hilarious.
Because then TNA would be like, we got Randy Orton, we can book, and then
and then Randy just not show up, and Joe Hendry gets the title back, and like, but then RKO'd out of nowhere. I don't know. I would have.
Or you could have done that, and then they had a rematch on TNA, and Joe Hendry beats Randy on that.
The next match, I didn't want. I understand why Logan won, but I don't know. At times, I just can't stand him, and it's not because he beat AJ. It's just. And
I like Karrion Kross being involved.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what helped the match more, really.
But then Karrion Kross's rant afterwards.
Yes.
Kind of.
Karrion is so good
scripted,
right now.
But kind of helped because I've talked and preached about how much I love Karrion Kross. I love the character of Karrion Kross.
So people are loving him right now, and it's warranted.
And I feel like I don't like Logan Paul at all. I really don't. But I can't deny he's not a good wrestler.
Yeah, you can't deny his talent.
You can't deny his talent. Now, his mic work needs work.
Yeah, it's just like he's talking on his podcast.
Yeah. But
I wish they would have used somebody other than AJ, kind of, but I understand why they used AJ.
Which AJ can put on a good match.
He'll make anybody look good, yeah.
But
see, they should have put Finn in this match.
I'm just tired because...
Poor Finn. They should have put poor Finn
Logan
in this match.
Logan wins the same way every time.
Yeah.
And it's just, it gets...
And you could say, oh, he'll tag... And I was like, it's not even...
Do a low blows. Do something better.
It's always like... I don't know, even this year, it was just stupid. It's the same thing every...
I'm tired of his manager or whatever throwing the brass rings in there or whatever.
Or like...
Now, I like the aspect of Karrion Kross trying to get in his head. Use him. Take him out. We don't want this dude to win. He's not from here. He's not around here. I like that aspect. But then it's like...
I wouldn't mind seeing a Karrion, AJ, Sammy stable. But Karrion also doesn't have to have him. That's what people don't realize. They're like, oh, we want more match. It's like, his character is so good, he don't need a match. Like, if you actually watch it, and I saw this, and might have sent you the TikTok, they were talking about how, look at his hairstyle, how it changes to each person that he deals with. With Sammy, the way he put it up. AJ, the way it's long and down. Actually, it almost looked like they had the same term.
Kind of parted.
Parted, and it looked. I was like, are they both using Head and Shoulders? Troy Polamalu must have gave him, a couple of bottles. I don't know if anybody's gonna get that joke. Those were great commercials. I used to love them. Even he was able to hit and almost kill people on the field, but he had very nice hair. I'm a little sad I can't grow it out that way. But they did. Karrion just is so good. He really doesn't need anyone else. I would like to see it because he's been in their head so much. But they're too back and forth on Sammy. That's what I'm saying. I don't want Sammy to join the Seth and Braun. I'd rather see him go more of the Karrion route and then keep using that because he's like the evil Jiminy Cricket, so to speak, on their shoulder. Or if you even get Sammy and AJ teaming up, type thing. Or even them solo stable. They can do so much with it. And I think now that, because fans are going wild over Carrion. Like, Carrion has shirts that, now where they can just buy them there. They don't have to go on the store. They can just pick them up there. And I've been thinking about getting a Karrion Kross shirt. But even you watch his interviews with Chris, dude is very, very wrestling knowledgeable. Like, he is, like, you have Bray and how much Bray was good with his ideas. Carrion's like right there to me. Now, he doesn't get the, as wrestle as much, but even his wrestling is good.
Well, if you think
but
about
he doesn't
Bray,
have to showcase
Bray really didn't wrestle as much. He wrestled more than Carrion, but he didn't. It was more promo. It was
and
more
psychological. And, next match was, which Logan Paul won that. Stupid. And then the next match was okay, I guess. Me and you were not surprised by one person coming out. At all, I
basically called this whole story that's going on right now. I think I told you.
Yeah.
Becky took out Bayley to replace them, and then she turned on Lyra the next night, and it's a whole Purdue.
Which Liv and Raquel dropped the titles of Lyra and Becky.
Because Liv was leaving to go. They won it back Monday, so I guess you can't really. But I was thoroughly excited because Becky was back. Because I like Becky.
What if Becky becomes the Batista role in that new faction? I think she could take Batista, honestly. Because we could get Blue Tista.
I wouldn't mind her joining, but then it wouldn't make sense if we're trying to do Evolution.
Oh, yeah, I know. I want to see her wrestle Batista for that spot.
But
I don't know why.
It was not that bad of a match.
It wasn't that bad of a match.
Because I like Lyra. I'm really grown on Lyra. I like going the crow noises every time she comes out.
That does not sound like a crow to me.
I don't know what a crow makes, but like I liked Liv.
It's not her, it's the fans are kind of like, dude, I'm pretty sure that sounds like a tiger.
Like I like Liv Morgan, Raquel. Okay,
Raquel's just
she'll have a long lasting career and she'll be fine
because she's a beat. I mean, the way I love Raquel. I love all of them in the match. Even my feelings towards Becky at time. I don't think she's Becky Hogan. I think y'all need to calm down with that garbage because she puts plenty of people over. One did not, and one does. But there's not a lot to say about that match other than I think everybody in the world kind of expected it. We definitely did. We might have been one pay-per-view off, but I mean, we knew it was happening. I thought it would be Backlash she came back or the Monday night, but the fact that she came back a day early, not surprising.
Yeah.
Now, I did pop a little bit when her music hit, not gonna lie, but so did that crowd at Vegas. I know you did. I know you did.
I was good. I was like happy, but when they went to that female in the crowd crying, I kind of did get a little emotional because it's like, that's just wrestling, but I don't care.
At least it wasn't the guy when Undertaker lost.
Yeah.
That was funny. That is still hilarious.
Because at that time, that was 2014. He was undefeated.
Yeah. That still should have never happened.
At least not against Brock Lesnar. He was already established.
Yeah. I mean, you could have done Punk. You could have done...
Well, Punk was out of the business by then.
Well, I meant whenever he had his match. Next up was Cena versus Rhodes. I have nothing to say about this other than I thought it was hot garbage. Now, I know people have been online like, well, that match was slow and done that way because he's wanting to ruin the business for you.
That's fine.
You could have done it 100 different ways.
It was the ending of the match. Travis Scott should have no business being doing.
Maybe down the line he'll be a good wrestler. Right now, that's trash using that.
And you could be like, well, Bad Bunny could wrestle.
Yeah. Stephen Amell was athletic and could pull off what was needed to be done.
All I'm going to say about this match, and I'm going to be done with it, it sucked. Absolutely sucked. And it wasn't even the whole match. It was the ending of the match.
The whole thing online, and, we were talking about this. We know The Rock couldn't have been there because he had stuff. They could have still used his music.
And The Rock has
to
even
throw
said
off Cody.
He wasn't going to show up at Mania. The only reason why he was going to show up at Elimination Chamber is because TKO saw they wasn't moving tickets. So the guy who leads TKO called him and be like, "Hey, can you come?" And now she's going to be there, so the tickets can move. And he did he made the announcement for Mania to be there, and then 2.5 to 3 months, it's not even going to be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, at this point, I feel bad for The Rock because he's made people doing this thing, and then it's going to backlash to The Rock. When The Rock sold them, they weren't going to be.
Yeah, he's just on the board. It's not like he's the owner or majority. I don't even think he's majority shareholder.
No.
But he is on the board. But it also, too, how many times have they said they're not going to be there? And they could have still just done the music. And it still would have thrown
because it would make Cody Rhodes look up there.
Like, wait a minute, I thought he wasn't going to be here. And then, bam.
And then you could have had CM Punk, Cena use the title on that, and that would have been a good finish.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have a problem with the slow, because you kind of expect that with, John's always put on kind of slow matches. It's not new.
And then he picks it up at the end.
Yes. Cody kind of puts on slow matches at times, too. That's kind of more their thing. I mean, it's not like you had Penta and Dom going in there. Even Dom is slower at times. It was more of, I'm already done with Travis Scott junk. I don't care whether or not who's on board. Nobody cares. Like, literally, other than Travis Scott, I don't think anybody cares.
I was listening to Busted Open, and then, you got 3 legends in there with Mark Henry, Bully Ray, and Tommy Dreamer. They're like, Travis Scott should not have been involved.
Mm-mm.
And it's like, he shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Because he's not a mouthpiece. He's not nothing.
He was just a name.
I mean, he's training with Booker T, but that doesn't mean he's going to be good. And that's not talking about Booker T. That's just not everybody is cut out for it. If that was true, I mean, I would try it.
Yeah.
But I'm probably getting killed in a match.
But I'm done speaking about that match.
But, so
And it sucks because that's Cena's last Mania match, and that's what people will remember.
Yep. That, and every so often, whenever lights would change, hitting the bald spot. Which I can't say much. I have some of the same issues, but I didn't put on a horrible match. Actually,
You're in front of 1,000.
If you look at me, WW2K, I'm getting 3 and 4 stars. I think that was a 2. Even Dave Meltzer's not giving it a 5.
Dave might actually give that negative stars. I don't know.
But he'll blame it on Cody for some reason.
No, he actually liked Cody. He don't like John.
Well, nobody does right now. Even though I like the heel turn,
I can't wait for him and R-Truth tonight.
But so, what would you give Not 2 letter grade?
It wasn't that bad of a not. I give it a B. It was a B.
I give it B plus, straight B plus, because I feel like the women's triple threat, the 4-way for the Intercontinental. So I was going to say Intercontinental, wasn't double sure, and even the Randy Orton will keep it above that. Now, if one of those matches were not as good, it would be B minus, just because to me the match order of the night was not the greatest. I feel like not one was a little bit better ordered. If they knew the stuff with Cena and Rhodes was going to happen, I would have put that. I know you can't really put it mid. You should put it probably to begin. Mm-hmm. Because even with the ending, it was like, okay, it's just the pay-per-view's over. Like, type scenario. With EO beyond, you could have had EO win to end it, and then her just celebrate forever with it going off the air. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, that would have been better. So I give it a B plus. What do you feel? We agree, I think, with the worst match of the night, Cena and Rhodes. What would you say is the match of the night for you?
The opening match. I think both triple threat matches was my top 2 matches of the weekend. Okay,
and then overall, for the whole pay-per-view, what would you give it letter grade?
A B. Because if you go BB, it evens out as a B.
Yeah, and that's why I would say probably overall I'd give it a B minus, just because there were some of these matches that could have been Raw and SmackDown for me. And then you mix in the fact that entrances were just common.
Yeah, I think the best one might be Tiffany's. Thinking back about it,
Yeah, because that was the Barbie, Barbie one. Hers, I would say was the best of both nights because of. Wait a minute, somebody
CM
else
Punk's
had a good
was
one.
really good too.
CM Punk's was good. I think I even texted you that was my favorite because
I like Living
Color. Yeah,
but I think it was just the video before it.
Yeah, the video package was great over the years.
Yeah,
him coming up over the years and all that stuff was great.
I like Seth. It was basic, but it was good.
Yeah, Seth. Yeah, it's Seth. I at times he could just the lights turn out on him in the ring and I'd be fine. Some of his entrances are just overdone for me. I think it's kind of overrated, some of his entrance stuff for me at this point. But I would say B-. Now, of both nights, I think we're in agreement. For me, it's very close to both of them being number one. But I guess for the 2 nights for you, it'd be the men's triple threat would be your number one for both nights. It's hard between the men's triple threat and the women's triple threat. I know there was more story with Paul on the men's, but the women's was just so good. Where there were no shenanigans really, I think their story is more future, but the women's triple threat was the now story where I think it hit better. It's hard to pick on who's number one for me of those two. I would say easily you could put one of them at 1 and the other one at 2 and vice versa.
Yeah.
For me, personally. I think for both nights, what would you say is the worst match of both nights? I think it's tough between the New Day and War Raiders. But the fact that was so quick put together, I would give it a little bit more credit than the Cena Rhodes.
And it wasn't the main event.
Right. It was
the second
match. So, I feel like there's a couple other matches you could put over Cena and Rhodes. The women's triple threat, even Jenny Gunther, I think would have been better than.
You could put this match as it.
Yeah, on night 2. I think the crowd was good on both nights. But I think they rolled with the matches the same way I did.
I think they were a lot better night 2 than night 1. But that's how usually Manias go.
Yeah. When I would imagine they thought Cena Rhodes was going to be a better match, too. Now, that's pretty much all we got, I guess.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if there's anything else. We will have probably Saturday Night Main Event. We might do one on. We're not doing one on Backlash. I didn't watch it at all, and from what I understand, most people didn't even like it.
Yeah, I mean it was alright.
Now we will be doing one on Money in the Bank. That's one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. We will be doing one on that. But honestly, wrestling's kind of passed me by for right now. I will eventually catch up, but right now it's not top of my radar, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But until next time, like, subscribe if you got some ideas. We are back here and there. What we can do with. But I would say until next time, like, subscribe, come back for some more. We'll see you later.